Welcome to Metaphysical Life Support, a place to learn about the subtle and profound effects of metaphysics in our life. This show is about an exploration of tools and people who live in awareness, supporting and inspiring us all to live with and from our source, empowering ourselves to manifest consciously, and encouraging us to have compassion and a sense of humor about being human. Our guest today is continuing with Rosie Potestio, one of my dear friends, and we are going to talk about the divine voice coming to us through synchronicities. So you have some stories.
Synchronicity, well, let's talk about what synchronicity is.
Go for it.
Synchronicity to me is something unexpected. You see something that maybe you didn't expect to see, and later you find out that it connected to this, that connected to that, that brought you this, that brought you that. These connections that we don't see at first that are synchronized. So synchronicity, we have some wonderful synchronicity experiences between the two of us.
So listening to the voice of the divine by paying attention to what's happening in the world.
Exactly.
I want to acknowledge one of our first guests. Her name is Cheryl Greathouse. She's a wayfinder and she is a collector of synchronous stories. So take a look for our Cheryl Greathouse segments previously done. So let's get back to this. Mm-hmm. So tell us a synchronicity.
Well, when I met my husband, it was really an amazing coming together. I had been divorced, I had a son, I was busy working, I was busy raising my son, I was helping on the family ranch, I was not really interested in getting remarried, and yet I did. I wanted a partner that I could connect with, that I would be in tune with, and have a good life for myself and for my son.
A side note, you and I were talking about this earlier today, just how in sync you and your husband Jim are. Everything from both of you being early risers to both of you having similar attitudes about home care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So go ahead.
So I was at work one Friday afternoon, and my sister called me and she said, "We're going out dancing tonight and we want you to come with us." I said, "No, I'm busy. I'm working all day. I have to go home. I have to fix dinner. I have to be, a little home wife, and I'm tired, and I don't want to get dressed up and put on makeup and put on high heels and go dancing." No. And
I'm going to whine until you make me not have fun.
But this sister of mine, who she's wonderful, she just kept at me. She kept at me until I just gave in. And so we went to this really lovely dance bar. They were playing 50s music. It was really great. And I saw this man across the dance floor. You know how men, I'm sorry guys, but truly, you know how men dance sometimes, like this? Well, there was this man out there that was dancing, and he was just having a great time. I said to my sister, I said, "Look at that guy. That is really great. He is having a great time." Well, he asked me to dance, and 3 months later, we were married. How?
You were both ready.
We were both ready.
And you and Jim have been mostly in sync ever since.
We have been married almost 30 years. Yeah.
I'm impressed with that.
Yeah, me too.
So I love to work, and it is just it lights me up. I'm working in my purpose. So most of the things in my life have something to do with work.
Mm-hmm.
And a few weeks ago, I interviewed a lady named Lorelei Shamayo, and she runs Metaphysical Fairs. She's a fascinating woman, and I mentioned to her, and then later put a Facebook up that day about wanting to interview more men who are involved in a spiritual path, because so many times you hear people say, "Well, women are spiritual and men aren't, and all of these things, and that didn't sit right with me.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least I wanted to prove to myself what was true.
Right.
And so Lorelei said, oh, well, you should talk to Dylan, who I will be interviewing next month. And then I put this post up, and within 12 hours, I had about 26 guys that said, I'll talk to you about it. I have guys, on Messenger saying, well, how can I help? And so I've ended up with this whole sub-project that's extremely exciting. And then I was talking to one of the gentlemen here at the studio who I had no idea. I just mentioned some of the things we were planning. And it turns out that he knows a woman in another city who knows about the book that I wrote about the Enneagram, which starts this whole other conversation. And he happens to be an amazing candidate for my team of men and the men who will want to be interviewed on spiritual topics. Mm-hmm. So it was an amazing divine synchronicity saying, yes, absolutely, do this.
Right.
And I just got confirmation chills.
Pieces coming together. And tell the story about how we met, because that was synchronicity.
Well, I was going to a trade show, and there was very few seats left because I have an awkward relationship with time. And
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at that.
Well, it's true. I'm better than I used to be. And so there was very few seats left, and I was looking around, and you know me, I'm intuitive, and I'm very picky about who I want to sit by. And so there was this space open next to the person who is our mutual friend, and I looked at her, and I just said, do you have room for another gorgeous redhead here? And she is a queen archetype, and her face lit up, and it was like, oh yes, somebody saw me, you know I'm a queen, you may sit here.
Yes, true.
And we just had a blast. Mm-hmm. And she said to me, you need to meet my friend Rosie. And then I said, okay. And I forget exactly how it all happened. I think I was coming down to a trade show in your area, and that's how we met. And then we just sort of immediately, it's like I've known you so long, I don't remember that exact moment of meeting you.
No, I don't either.
It's just really interesting. And then it was just like, hey, I can help you, you know, because you're a helper, that's one of your archetypes. Oh, I can help you with this. And I was like, oh, great, well, I can talk about this, and I can do this, and I can do this reading, and you can help me do this. And before you know it, it's kind of like our souls just opened up, like one of those marble games, and all the marbles come running down, and there's this big bouncy ball pool, and we don't know where it all started.
So the thing that is really wonderful about synchronicity is that it encourages us to look for things that we wouldn't ordinarily look for. Look for something a little beyond, a little out of place, or deeper. Look deeper into something. It encourages that. Be aware. Be aware of where you are. Be aware of what you're seeing, and recognize it. Recognize it for what it might bring you.
Also, the shadow side of synchronicity is if you're pushing too hard.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in a situation that is not synchronous, then you want to reevaluate how much energy or whether that thing that you think you want is lined up.
Right.
I'm going to tell a story on myself.
Okay.
That is about an anti-synchronicity.
Yes, because we have to be careful.
So, if I have been having sleep deprivation. I just found out I have sleep apnea. Mm-hmm. And so with sleep apnea comes a number of other situations, including sometimes feelings of anxiety or depression. I'm not normally a depressed person. I'm not normally an anxious person, and I was using all my other tools. And what I thought I needed was a partner. And I badgered everybody who would listen to me into my whining about the fact that I was angry at God because why would God make me this way and then not send me the essential thing that a human being needs, which is a partner? Now, while I would still like a partner, I've come to realize that what I needed was sleep, and I thought I needed a man. So the anti-synchronicity was all the hours that I spent on all the dating websites meeting all the wrong people.
And the message here is be careful what you ask for.
And always try sleep.
Sleep is always good.
Sleep is a really good thing.
Sleep may always be the answer.
At some future time, I'm going to have a sleep doctor on, and we're going to talk about the importance of sleep.
Yes, that would be good.
I think that looking at the anti-synchronicities also help us. Like I did really successfully in trade shows 15 years ago. And this last time I did trade shows, I didn't do bad, but the energy wasn't right. And at first I was judging myself, thinking I was doing something wrong. But it wasn't that at all. It was just the divine letting me know that I'm supposed to get my butt in the studio and do these shows and bring my energy in a different way.
Right. And that's one point I'd like to make before we need to close out, is to pay attention to your energy. Pay attention to if things attract you or if they kind of repel you. Pay attention to that energy. It's important.
Rosie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you to all the grace that has brought us together in this life. And thank you, Jen, because having you in the studio, one day I'm going to get you out here, but having you in the studio is such a blessing. Thank you, Rosie, for joining us today. Remember, you guys out there in the audience, to like, comment, and share. That's how we can continue to bring you more people and bring the metaphysical ideas for living well to you through Metaphysical Life Support. I am Naomi Eklund. Thank you, our audience, for joining us on Metaphysical Life Support. Our purpose is to provide thoughtful and practical ways to explore the metaphysical reality of your life, to see where life starts in our most powerful journey toward manifesting the strength of our soul on this earth.